Now, coming up for you in just a second, we're going to be gripping in TheDruidMan into this cast channel, who is the main theory crafter in the Legacy 30 community, to talk a bit more in depth about what's going on tonight, as we're not quite the experts that we pretend to be. Let's move him up if I can into this cast. TheDruidMan, hello, how are we doing?
Hey, how's it going, everyone? I'm doing good. How you doing, Cole?
Yeah, sorry for the double drag up there. I couldn't do it all in one go. I'm doing fantastic. How confident are you going into tonight? I know you're the multi-time winner of these events so far.
I'm very, very confident. However, I do think there will be at least one or two teams that will give us a run for our money. So, not gonna say with certainty, but I have a good feeling about at least guaranteeing second place, hopefully winning. So we'll see how it turns out because some of these teams I've never played with them before, so won't know what kind of strategies they might pull out. So we'll find out.
Okay, and as we said, this is the Legacy 30 Game Flash event. So tell us a bit more about Legacy 30, who you are, what you do, and what kind of people might be interested in playing with you in the future.
Sure. So we're a level 30 XP off community in retail. We do content ranging from vanilla to RAF as for raiding. But in terms of Chromie time, we have access from vanilla to Shadowlands. So there's obviously like a whole range of expansions you can do there for like questing, dungeons. But for raiding, yeah, we do vanilla to RAF. We do a monthly Herald of the Titans for people that need the title. We also run every 3 months dungeon tournaments, as you can see here. And then we try and raid at least like once a week, or if not every 2 weeks. Right now we have something called Progression Raid going on, which is bi-weekly. It's basically where we restrict our gear and we go back to some of the old raids, and we won't be allowed to enter the next raid until we clear the raid before it. So yeah, that's kind of an introduction to our guild.
Cool. Where,
Okay.
guys, are you up to at the moment with the progression?
Right now we're stuck on Kel'Thas in the Tempest Keep. We need more people, ideally, to help bring that down. It's kind of a gatekeep right now. So what we've been doing every week, or every 2 weeks, is going back to some of the older, easier raids and getting more gear for our roster, so that when we do go back into Tempest Keep, we can hopefully try and get that down.
If you also, I understand you have an EU and an American or NA section, so people can join. Is that? Am I correct in thinking that?
Yeah, most definitely. So our main guild's on Thrall NA, but we now have a EU section as well. I believe it's Drano EU. Don't quote me on that. And we have an officer over there who helps run things. So if anyone's interested on EU or NA, yeah, you can obviously come in and join in on the fun. Like there's no restrictions there. So.
Okay, and if you're interested in how to join that community, that is on the screen throughout the whole event, and the bottom right currently is the Discord link and the Twitter, and you can get involved, and head over there and hopefully prop up those numbers and take down a couple of bosses. How did you personally get into the Legacy 30 community and running it?
That's a good question. That's a really good question, Cole. So I've been playing XPR content since Cataclysm. I personally kind of quit after Legion for a while because I didn't have a guild, and then I picked it back up in BFA, and then during Shadowlands, I actually found Legacy 30, and I was really interested in it because that's something I'd been doing solo, just without obviously any group content because I was solo, and I joined. I was participating in all the events, and then somehow later down the road, I kind of got into like making multiple classes, and it kind of spiraled out of control. I stopped playing max level, and I was just somehow I found myself playing 30s all day, and this is kind of what I do now. I just play 30s. Yeah, so
yeah, me and Lux ran a couple of dungeons together. What did you think about the content, Lux? Because maybe people will be thinking it's easy, but actually there is some level of complexity to it. It's not quite as easy as maybe people would be thinking at home to do what we're doing tonight.
Yeah, you guys are a different breed. Honestly, some of the stuff that you guys were doing and some of the pulls, I'm thinking, I can't even do this on my 70s, and here you are absolutely blasting it through on 30s and just making it look so easy. So yeah, it's a super, super awesome community. If you guys want to be a part of it as well and get in there, it's absolutely awesome.
And I know we have a bit of a Google spreadsheet well, we love a bit of a spreadsheet over here. So let's load that up, and you can talk to us perhaps about what classes and specs we should be looking for tonight. What are you expecting the meta to be for dungeons? And maybe we can pull up some of these sheets and have a look.
Sure. So as for dungeons, what we should be scared of really is Destro Warlocks, Fury Warriors, and Brewmaster Monks. These three are extremely deadly if they're in the right hands. As for, I'll go with healers here. We should be looking out for like Resto Shamans and Holy Priests because they can actually out damage specs themselves. Like my Holy Priest, for example, can do more damage than the majority of my actual DPS specs, just because of the wonky scaling at level 30. We should see some like play maybe out of like some niche specs like I don't know, Survival Hunter. They like a lot of these specs do really well, but the most deadly ones are like, as I mentioned, Fury Warrior, Brewmaster Monk, and I think I mentioned, yeah, Destro Warlock there. But yeah, those are like the three we should look out for.
Okay, maybe you can tell us about your favorite class, and we can pick that out as a sheet, and you can talk us through.
Oh, I thought about that for a while. Personally, because I play every class, I'm gonna say warrior because I started this game as a warrior. It's always been my main, even way before I had multiple, classes before leveling became easier. Um, I'll say arms warrior. Arms warrior has always been my thing. When I started this game at like 11 years old, it was always like arms warrior, and then later down the road fury. That's gonna always be like the one close to my heart. But nowadays it's kind of just all over the place. I play literally anything and everything. Yeah.
From what I understand, Arms isn't in a particularly fantastic place when it comes to dungeons anyway at level 30, or are you going to prove me wrong this evening?
The problem with Arms is that it doesn't have the tools it needs to perform in dungeons. And Fury, for example, has a whirlwind that doesn't cost rage, and they can just spam it indefinitely. So when you look at Arms, it's I guess it would be decent on its own, but compared to Fury, it's just Fury just makes it look like it's really really bad. So if you had the option, like yeah, there's no reason why you wouldn't play Fury. I think if like Arms had Blade Storm at level 30, that might change things. But unfortunately, as of right now, we don't have access to that. But who knows? Maybe one day we'll get access to that.
I've seen you've been doing some of the beta testing on the War Within, and we kind of links in with a question we got in chat. So what's going on with Evokers? Maybe you can tell us level 30 Evokers should be something in the next expansion, and maybe you're looking forward to playing with it, and maybe you already have.
Oh yeah, so I'm really looking forward to playing Evoker because it's a new thing, new class to join us at level 30. From the theory crafting and speculation I've done on beta, obviously I cannot verify this until it actually comes out. 30 Evokers are going to be extremely overpowered, so expect in future level 30 tournaments we should see Evokers popping up quite often in some of these teams. I think augmentation is extremely fun. It's going to create like a new way of playing the game at level 30, and Devastation, as some people might know, is extremely overpowered. Like the way that mastery works just makes it a really deadly powerhouse. It might even compete with some of these other classes like Fury Warrior, Brewmaster Monk, Industrial Warlock. But we'll have to see how the numbers turn out once everyone starts to step into pre-patch and getting them geared up and so on. But yeah, that's how it's looking right now.
There's no Mythic Plus sort of augmentation dream going on that you can think of, or is going to be some crazy theory crafting going on with that?
I think that's gonna be something I'll have to theory craft because I haven't done any group content on the beta. One of the hard things about theory crafting at level 30 is that there's not many people doing it. So I'm kind of, as of the past year, I've been kind of left doing it kind of alone. But lately I've kind of gotten more people like interested in it. I've even got like my own team that I'm working with now. They're gonna help me check things, and yeah, I'm hoping to get into the dungeons very early into the pre-patch on my Evoker so I can get some data out there, make some guides. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I really hope Evoker is like up there. I hope it's not too overpowered, but I hope it's just the right amount of power that it feels good to play, and it's not like, yeah, it is like a challenge to it. Yeah, so.
Okay, well, we've got 5 minutes left until the run starts. So if production is watching, you can get people set up and ready, and maybe while in those 5 minutes, I don't want to ruin too much, but I know what you're playing tonight. You are on your Brewmaster, and maybe we can do a 5-minute little deep dive into a bit more in-depth theory crafting about that class, and you can tell us what makes Brewmaster so special, and maybe some pieces of gear that are going to be really valuable and break the class.
That's a really good question, Cole. So one of the things that's really broken about Brewmaster Monk is the way that the chance on hit mechanic works on weapons. So that was a mechanic that was introduced in Classic WoW, and it's been kind of retired, if you will, since I think Cataclysm or MUP. And those kinds of weapons that say chance on hit only exist now in this like kind of Classic to RAF era. The thing is, chance on the reason why chance on hit is extremely unique to Monk and Warrior, but we're mainly talking about Monk here, is that when you rushing Jade Wind or spinning Crane Kick as a Monk, you're doing several hits within like less than a second, and that can really ramp up and crank some of these weapons up to their maximum potential. Like you have many weapons. Like I'll give you Thunder Fury as an example. It says chance on hit to do 58 damage. If I'm like spinning Crane Kick like every second and I have like 20 mobs on me, I'm gonna proc the Thunder Fury like 30 times in 1 second. And there's items like Tiny Abomination, which after you hit 7 times, it will basically do a weapon swing for 50% of your main hand damage. As you can probably imagine, when I'm pulling like 20 mobs, maybe 40 mobs, when I'm AoEing, I'm like getting an insane amount of Tiny Abomination procs, and my weapons also having their own like damage procs. And it's just like they're all working in synergy to create like extremely deadly like amounts of damage. Like I've seen damage upwards from 30k, 40k. Yeah, it really gets insane. And Fury Warrior is the second class that can do that with their Whirlwind. But not many other classes can actually do that. So it's exclusive to Warrior and Monk that can manipulate that and yeah, use it to its full potential.
And the last question from me before I hand over to Lux for the last couple of minutes is, you were saying about 30k damage, but for people who perhaps aren't used to level 30 content, perhaps you could tell us what the average sort of amount of damage would be to show how crazy 30k really is.
So if you're average gear, just an average player playing, I think you could expect on average like, I don't know, 4 or 5k AoE damage on a decently sized pool. 30k is really absurd, and it's only possible when you're using the items mentioned, unless you're playing like a Warlock. Warlocks are just completely another breed entirely, and they can pull upwards of 40, 50, 60 just from their own toolkit, not even needing any of these items that I just mentioned. Like if I didn't have Tiny Abomination equipped or any weapon that had the chance on hit on the tooltip, I'd be averaging around maybe 4 or 5k, maybe even 6 max DPS. Like if I pulled like, I don't know, 20, 30 mobs. So it's a massive buff when you're using those items.
Okay, Lux, do you have any questions for our resident expert before he bounces back into the channel to get ready with his team?
Yeah, just a pretty much straightforward one. Are you crazy? You play pretty much every single class. Where do you find the time?
Yeah, well, I'll just say this. I had a lot of time in 2023. I wasn't working. So I would just play WoW all day. And I would play like 12 hours a day, and all I would do was theorycraft. And also, if people who do play 30s know, spending a lot of time in WoD dungeons, World of Draenor dungeons. As you know, you can actually get like epic proc drops from some of the bosses there. And I don't know, I just made time to try everything out, and before I knew it, I had 36 specs in this game, and now they're all fully bis as well. So I don't know what to tell you.
Dedication. Literally just dedication. Just hats off.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Putting a lot of time and effort into getting this all ready. It looks like we're having a look at the teams. Some of them are ready. Hopefully they've remembered the different commands. So thank you very much, DruidMan. We're going to let you get back to your team, as it looks like we're moments away from beginning the first round. So thank you very much for joining us, and maybe we can talk to you again a bit later.
All right, thank you for having me, and I'll see you guys soon.